You also mentioned you had this during your time in Germany, this extraordinary opportunity to see two more member NATO nations being added. And in terms of the educational learning, and over in, of course, NATO, you have a dozen plus allies who are all have their own fighting forces, their own cadets, their own training programs. Could you perhaps share some stories or insights from your experience there, and perhaps how these other countries are educating and training their cadets, and what ways are we learning from them, and are they learning from us in some ways?
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's vastly different. Every time I go somewhere, I have a greater appreciation, one, for just the resources that our country provides our army is unmatched anywhere in the world. So I think we're able to do things that, quite frankly, you're speaking specifically about the alliance, a 32 nation alliance, and you get essentially 32 ways of doing business. How we still have some countries where service is mandatory, right?
Hmm.
In the alliance, uh, we've been an all volunteer force for over 50 years. I think this is our 51st year of being an all volunteer uh, force, and that's not always the same. So you kind of sometimes you kind of get what you get in those cases. Specifically for ROTC and what we do in Cadet Command, there's no other place in the world that does what we do in terms of creating officers for not just the Army, but for our all of our services across the Department of Defense. So that, to me, that is unmatched. But I do have a great appreciation in some of these small countries where they don't necessarily have the GDP that the United States have, and they were able to field a pretty quality army, right, on somewhat of a limited budget, and bring it, and they're as passionate about serving their country, being a part of that alliance, and making a meaningful contribution, not to the alliance, not just to the alliance, but to the world in terms of the security apparatus. So I think it's extremely meaningful
Yeah.
what they bring, but they are very unique. Some of them are we're similar to the UK and what they get in terms of commissions out of Sandhurst, which is their version of West
Right.
Point, which kind of the same, but a very small force. Uh,
Right.
from a quantity size, I don't think what we do here is replicated anywhere. But we have some phenomenal relationship. I had this conversation today with my aide de camp about we used to have this really great relationship. For a long time, Germany trained their air defense officers in the United States.
Mm.
Until recently, I think maybe 2021, they stopped doing that. But this was, you talking about an incredibly powerful relationship where every air defense officer in the German Air Force came to Fort Bliss, Texas to train
That's
alongside
great.
U.S. officers. Yeah, you talk about building some incredible cohesion and synergy around air and missile defense, and that still pays off today. Those relationships that we continue to leverage, with our Dutch and German partners, and now that's expanded to Poland, who recently acquired the Patriot missile system. Uh,
Hmm.
Romania recently acquired it. So those like systems and like training, we bring the similar values and those kind of things. And now we leverage similar systems and are able to really solve some incredible uh, problems at a multinational level. Just the relationships, I think, is probably the most important thing that I learned my 2 tours in Germany. The importance of building and nurturing those relationships over a long time pay huge dividends, quite frankly, when it's time to fight.